On today's question of faith, is this goodbye? Hey everybody, this is Question of Faith. I'm Deacon Mike Hayes. I'm the Director of Young Adult Ministry here in the Diocese of Cleveland.
And I'm Father Damian Ferentz, the Vicar for Evangelization.
And I am Father Eric Garris, Vocation Director, Diocese of Cleveland.
That's you.
Nice.
That's all of us.
That's right.
We
Vocations
share
is
that in
everybody's
common.
show.
We share the Diocese of Cleveland in common, and
Yeah.
our particular ministries are different.
Yeah,
That's right.
we're many parts. We are all one body, but the
are
gifts we have,
many
we're given to share.
parts. We are all one body.
Yes. Vocations is all our job anyway.
It is. It says that it is the job of all within the church to promote vocations.
I love
to
when
build
people-
a culture of vocations. So
I love when people ask you, how many seminarians did you get this year? You said, how many did you send me?
That's right.
That's right.
There you go.
Quantity, quality. I will say, I don't know if this is the area to air this in, but I had a bit of a crisis in my life a couple days ago. I was driving, and I'm like,
Yikes.
wait, if I don't do my job, there'll still be people in the seminary because it's God who calls, not me.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off you.
Yeah, it was like, wait, what am I doing with my life? Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah.
assisting people, walking with them, all that good
That's
stuff.
right.
I think, too, like if I die, let's say,
If
my
you
plane
do?
crashes or the car crashes or somebody hits me as I walk across the street today. Okay, someone else is going to be doing my job, and someone else can offer Mass. Not that I won't be missed and I don't offer something particular, but it's good to keep in mind that there's other things that will happen and the church will go on and life will go on without you.
Yeah, and look, we're all very serious about our work, right?
Yeah.
We all take it really seriously.
And our faith.
And our faith. And I'm realizing that I forgot to start. Oh, no, I did start the video. Never mind. We'll keep going then.
Do we start the podcast?
No, we started.
Okay.
Rolling.
But we're all serious about our work. And I would say I used to be, I don't want to say less serious about my work. I don't think I'm any less serious, but I think I like held on to it a little more tightly than I do now. And I kind of realized, after a while, like whenever I left a job, somebody else came in and did that job, and it was fine. And the world kept turning, My friend Joan is a really good check on this. She said that she got fired one time from a job, and she was like, the radio station's going to be really sorry that they fired me. They're going to miss me. And they didn't.
Yeah.
It just went, the station kept going on. And she was like,
Yeah. and
wow,
That's
all
the
right.
humility. I mean, we've all been in ministry and done different things, but like, I at this point in my life, I've been in vocation ministry 3 years. I was at St. Gabriel for 1. I was at St. Raphael for 4. I've been gone from St. Raphael, my first assignment, longer than I've been there. And now there's a new priest, so like my replacement's already moving on.
Right.
And so you see, it's not just us. Yes, the minister matters, but it's also the Spirit providing for the church in and through and at the particular times through all of that.
It's like when I go back to Busted Halo with the Paulists, people are like, so Mike, how do you know Busted Halo? And I'm like, I started it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I thought Father Dave started it. And I said, no, he came in like 5 years after the project. I said, as I always remind him.
Yeah.
And I said, but it's his. I said, this isn't mine anymore.
Yeah.
This is his.
A couple of weeks ago, Bishop Malesic ordained 8 men to the priesthood. We were all there.
Yes, we were.
And one of the guys who was ordained is Father John Hawkins. And I've known John since he was in high school. And his youth minister was in my youth group.
Wow.
So it was really cool. And he asked me to vest him. And so after we laid hands, the priests, then those who were vesting stood together in just behind the altar in the sanctuary. And one of the guys who was standing next to me in the sanctuary was Rich Samiti, Father Rich Samiti, who was in my youth group back in the day in Hudson. And I assumed he was vesting Father Jeff Lindholm because they're into Hispanic ministry. They're
Yes,
both
right.
really great linguists.
Yes.
Well, as it turns out, I didn't find out till the next day, he vested Donatelli. And at Father Anthony Donatelli's first Mass, now I didn't know him when I was in Hudson, but he's a Hudson kid
Because
too.
he was probably like 5.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably right.
And he was at Kent his first year or two before he transferred to Borromeo.
That's true. Yeah.
But at his first Mass, Father Anthony was introducing a lot of the priests that were up there. And he said, and that over there, that tall priest with the beard, that's Father Rich Samiti, and he vested me yesterday. And the reason he vested me yesterday was because he was the first one to ask me about priesthood.
Wow.
And I thought, That is so awesome. I wrote Rich a handwritten note just to tell him how proud I was of him, because when he was in high school, he shadowed me for a week. And you get to a point, like, it's like, do your job, and then, sow your seeds where you sow them, and then you'll see fruits way down. Now, it gets 20 years down the road now. I've been a priest 22 years, and it's great. And you deal with life with a loose grip. You don't hold on too tight, because then you can't swing the bat too loose. The bat falls out of your hand. So just enough. It's like this Marian posture to let things be what they're supposed to be.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have a tendency to do this, though, right? I mean, think about just buildings and street signs, right? Like we're all trying to cheat death, right? We're putting names on buildings, in memory of, or the I don't know, Wrigley Field is probably a good example, even though it's a company. But I mean, somebody's named Wrigley.
Stick of gum.
Yeah, named after the guy who made that stick of gum.
It used to be Jacobs
Field.
Field.
Is that right?
Jacobs Field.
It's named after gum.
Yeah, it's the gum company, Wrigley's.
Yeah,
I thought it was some guy named Wrigley.
Yeah. There was also a Wrigley Field in L.A. I mean, that everybody forgets about.
I forgot about it.
But they were, these things are all named after somebody, and people are thinking that this is their legacy. They're keeping it on. No, your legacy's in heaven. It's like this is not. We're kind of holding on to this to have some remnant of ourselves here. I always say, how many of us could remember our great grandfather? Now, okay, you could probably look that up, right? You could probably find some trace of it on Ancestry or something like that. But do you know how he laughed? Do you know do you know anything about that guy? No, that guy is gone. He is a figment of the past.
While however, at the same time, though, is a part of you, even though you're not necessarily aware of that.
Right.
Yeah, and
that's right.
God willing,
and
he's in the promised land waiting
correct.
For his body to get back.
This is where I was going.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, you said he was like, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean,
he's gone.
He's gone from our memory, certainly on the earth, but God never forgets a single one of us.
True.
And so we're all bound together.
One of my weird mind things that I think about is like, I'm a priest. It's 2025, and I'm a Catholic, but and I know my grandparents were, but who was the first person in my family that became a Catholic?
That's a good question.
And then but back to that, then who influenced that person? Who influenced how it is such a big and beautiful picture that I think we can get so myopic in our vision of I'm just focused on me and this, but we are a part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm. And that is why I like to celebrate Saint Cyril and Methodius, because they were the one who brought Christianity to the Slavs, and that's where my people come from. So.
Dzień dobry, jak się masz?
Pivo, dwa pivo, prosim. That's 2 beers,
Szczęść
please.
Boże.
You learn a lot here. A little Slovak, a little theology.
Kapusta.
A little history.
So what's the answer to the question?
I was going to say, so why are we talking about this? Good question.
Because you this may come to you as a surprise, but today is the final episode of Question of Faith.
Aww.
Because we've answered all of them, right?
That's right. We've
there's no more.
Or we've exhausted our knowledge.
Our job is done here.
That's right.
God bless. Thank you.
3 years.
Have a good night.
No.
We're Question of Faith.
So we started Question of Faith on January 18th, 2022. So more than 3 years.
Good run.
Yeah, really good run.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite question?
Ooh.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Did Carrie Underwood make Axl Rose smile?
Was that the topic?
That was that was one.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. He's always so angry, and she played some music festival and brought him up to play with her, and I've never seen him smile so much. And I told, it was Mike at the time before he was a deacon. Yeah. I'm like, could we do this? Because I love talking about that stuff, and it made me so happy, and it was such a weird thing to talk about. So that was my favorite episode. Yeah. Sorry, I'm fidgety.
It might be picking up. People are going to be
hearing. I can't hear it.
Crinkling your mint.
Well, you can see this if you're listening. There you go. Now you
That's
got
it. That's like the weird ASMR thing, isn't that the thing where people jiggle jewelry and say
right.
Is that what I hear at night from your room?
No,
they pour sand into a thing.
Yeah. So how many different episodes?
186 episodes.
Wow.
Should have quit at 200. Let's do 14 more.
15? 12?
So this is 187 actually, which is also the code for murder. I might add.
I thought it was 18. No.
187.
Oh,
so that's from a.
Well, there you go.
Police, because it's a 187.
Taking out the podcast.
Exactly.
No.
And we're not we're not being told to do this. We're not. They're not firing us. It's our own.
Run its course.
Run its course.
Transitions happen, and
Correct.
changes are real.
Yeah, and changes are afoot. We're combining divisions here in the diocese. Our division of catechetics and parish life and special ministries are combining into one division, and so some changes are happening on. I can't say too much about this because we're going to make an announcement on July 1st, but I'll be moving into some new areas. That's all.
Cool. And what do they say? In a little while you will see me, but then you'll see me, and then you'll spit. It's like the resurrection, just in a different form, but the same form.
Tuesday, our new priests and those who are on the move in this rotation show up at their new assignments.
That's right. Yes.
So that's a change.
And your assignment is still fairly new over at the cathedral.
Still fairly new, yeah. I'm getting into it. Picking up some weddings now, trying to figure out building a young adult group at the cathedral. That's exciting. Nice. So, yeah.
You got Wednesday Night Lives?
Yep.
I'm moving, too. I'm moving from
Wednesday
the fifth
evening.
floor down to the second floor.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Here in this building, yes.
In this building,
Not in your residence.
With Mrs. Mary Fugate. She's going to come down with me.
She's coming down. I'm inheriting Mary's desk because I'm moving offices also, so I'm moving just across the hall.
A lot of movements, like musical chairs up on the fifth floor.
Yeah, I'm almost all moved, so I'm kind of ready to settle in. I'm just saying, hey, let's get a move on.
I'm actually looking forward to the move. I'll miss my view, but I wasn't in my office that much. But what I'm really excited about is now I could put my books on the south side of my office so that they won't be facing the sun and experience sun damage. And I was really worried about that.
Have they experienced fading?
They've started to, and it's caused deep concern within my soul. I don't collect many things, and I'm like the anti-hoarder. I try to get rid of stuff, but I do like books. I do like books.
Yeah, I'm much more of a hoarder than probably both of you are.
Yeah. Well, I told this story before. When my dad was in the nursing home, we ran out of money. We had to sell his house. So my brother is like Mr. Businessman, so he took care of all the sales and all that. My job was emptying out the house.
The worst job ever.
My dad was a greatest generation guy, so he held on to a lot of stuff. And it was painful, not just physically, but like emotionally to let go of my childhood home. And I had a lot of good memories there. And so I told myself, when I die, whether I get hit by a car, my plane crashes, or I get hit jaywalking across the street today, this is the second time I'm saying that.
I'm going to say.
It's partly, I went to confession yesterday, so I'm cool.
Oh, you're good.
I did too.
But,
Interesting.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow. So
well, it's a good thing to do.
Question
I just don't want to burden my family or my friends when I die. They could say, wow, look, he put everything in 4 Tupperware boxes, and he's just got a lot of books. We could handle that, So I'm trying to do a service, an act of charity toward those whom I love when I die. Yeah. Even if it's today, if I get hit by a car, the plane crashes, or I get hit crossing the street jaywalking.
I have a lot of framed pictures and books like you, so those are the things I had to move all the way into my new office.
The framed pictures, I'm slowly getting rid of those because, how many framed pictures can you have? And then when you die, what are people going to do? They're going to be like, what are we going to do with this? You know what I mean? But it's nice to have for now.
I'm actually not a big picture.
I have a whole crate of framed pictures.
See, I think that they would tell a story when they find me. They'll be like, oh, look at who the heck is this?
I think that's generational, though, because, you entered adulthood prior to iPhone.
That's also true.
So I think people's new framed their framed picture is
your cloud
in your phone.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's true. Yeah. If I really like a picture, I'll print it and then I'll.
Well, I have a wall of fame with Bruce Springsteen, Patty Griffin, Gillian Welch, and Jules' autograph behind my couch. That's those are in frames. Those aren't going anywhere.
I don't have any pictures in my room. I have pictures in my office.
Yeah.
Don't you have a picture of Dr. Brule in your room somewhere?
No, I have a signed picture from Gary Busey.
Oh.
Wow.
It says, to Father Eric, God bless Gary Busey.
When I was ordained, Father Steve Breck got me an autographed picture of Bret Michaels, the lead singer of Poison, and I had it in my music room at my first parish. And one of the maintenance men really liked Bret Michaels. I'm like, do you want it? He's like, I would love it. So I gave it to him.
That's not nice of you.
He's got my Bret Michaels.
I got one.
Get your hands up.
When Father Jacob Bear, I don't know, maybe it was his birthday or something, but Gary Busey wrote a book called Buseyisms, where It was his life story, and every chapter was one word, but it was an acronym. So I got him the one that said FREEDOM, which stands for Facing Real Exciting
Events?
No, Facing Real Exciting
Elephants?
Energy Developing out of forget what it is.
That doesn't spell feelings.
Freedom. Facing Real Exciting Energy Developing out of forget. I don't know. I remember Cat was conniving and tactical.
Memory?
Yeah. Conniving and tactical.
Well,
very nice.
Developing out of miracles. Facing real exciting energy, developing out of miracles. That's
very
freedom.
nice. There you
And then I got a free 8x10 from Lethal Weapon 4.
Well,
kinda
speaking
random.
of random things, didn't you get some question about something?
We did. So someone wrote in this week and said, do I have to fast before I receive communion? How long do I have to fast before Mass starts? Do I have to fast before I receive communion? What's the deal with this?
And we answered this question before the show in a matter of 30 seconds, so
More or
somebody
less.
go.
Yes, but the church also doesn't ask you to do that, which is impossible. And so if you are in a situation where you need to eat food, you're able to be dispensed from that, and it's an hour before communion. So essentially, don't be eating a donut walking into the church building.
Right. Yeah.
And part of it is to create it's not like it's just to create a disposition and a space and a longing within your heart where it's like, I'm not just going from thing to thing to thing. This means something, so I'm willing to wait for it and to anticipate it.
And prepare for it.
If you need
yeah.
proof, Canon 919 is the one that lists this, and it is 1 hour before you receive communion, not 1 hour before Mass begins.
Correct. So if you go to a long Mass, like if you go to the Easter Vigil, you can actually like eat a Rice Krispie treat at the beginning and still
You
be
could
fine.
probably eat a Rice Krispie treat during the first reading.
But I wouldn't encourage it.
I wouldn't encourage it either. I just said
You
could
can.
if you were a child.
Yeah, if you're a kid and you got
You
a
have some
bag of
Cheerios.
Cheerios, or
It's
if you're
always Cheerios.
or if you're an adult and you see a rogue Cheerio on the ground, you can eat that.
You could. You should blow it off first. There might be some like dust on it.
A little bit.
Or
yeah.
a hair.
That's right.
One never knows. I mean, hopefully the church floor is clean.
Right. But sometimes they're not.
Never know. Depends on your parish.
Sometimes there's dermis.
The
We're yeah.
It's good that you're bringing words like dermis back into the lexicon there.
Thank you.
No problem.
Your dermis is showing. Your skin
Good thing this is the last show, because if it wasn't,
Yeah.
canceled.
the other thing too is that medication does not count.
That's-
and,
that's
and,
what-
and
yeah.
water does not count.
Yeah, like if you need to eat before, water does not.
Also, if you're hungry, just drink a huge glass of water and you won't be hungry
Yeah,
anymore.
that's the
Also
first thing I
true.
do. 32 ounces as soon as I
Go
wake
for it.
up. Go for it.
Same.
I don't measure mine. I just
Well, I
drink
have
out
a
of my
cup.
water bottle until I'm satisfied.
Well, good for you.
Wow.
But I wonder if it's 32 ounces. I don't know. How much is in an Nalgene?
Depends on how
Depends.
big the Nalgene is.
I think it's a 32 ounces.
There you go. See?
I'm just kidding.
Actually, I think it's 64 if it's an
I have too
Nalgene.
many. I have too many stickers on it to know.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Maybe you should weigh it. Does 32 ounces of water weigh 32 ounces?
I would think that's.
But some liquids are more dense.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never know. Again, you learn a lot here. A little math. A little.
You
Little
guys,
biology.
listeners are going to miss this show.
They will.
I could tell. There's some people who are starting to
Miss
tear up,
Garris taking us off the track.
tear up a little bit out there. It's going to be okay.
It's gonna be all right.
Goodbye
We're
podcast. What's the next line? Goodbye stranger.
The next line is
Is the next line, hey, what about like church websites and stuff?
There's always an opportunity for your church website to get a little bit better. You know how they do that?
How?
just to wiping the dust off your monitor, you think? No, there's more than that. Briefcase marketing actually creates marketing for your church or church-based ministry that inspires action and delivers results.
What is there like so where would I go?
So they'll actually help clarify your message first so that you can convert mere visitors into customers, donors, volunteers, parishioners, all that fun stuff.
So who's they and where are they?
So it's Briefcase Marketing, briefcase.marketing. We put that link in the show notes each and every week. You can text them where? 308-627-1262. This is usually what he says. That's why I have to look at the script.
It's true, but hey, if you need proof, Briefcase Marketing gets great Google reviews.
Yes, I do.
They've done superb work with our friends at Theology of the Body Cleveland. St. John Cantius Parish in Tremont. I think Womankind. Is that
Womankind.
Most recently.
Your friend's Doyle, MD, just hired him recently, so he got a nice.
Doyle rules.
Doyle rules. We'll put samples of that work in our show notes to make it easier for you to check them out.
And our buddy Dan First has been such a great sponsor for us, so we're glad. We hate to see him go. We're going to miss talking about briefcase marketing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just get together once a week for coffee and talk about briefcase marketing. And
maybe you should get a briefcase.
Put it out there.
Yeah, well, we got the link in the show notes. It's briefcase.marketing. And as Deacon Mike said, add this number to your phone in case you ever say, man, I just want my website to get better. Well, text 308-627-1262, and our pal Dan First will take good care of you at Briefcase Marketing.
Hey, softball started.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday, by the way. You want me to do a quick softball update, bring you guys up to date?
Sure.
Sure, why not? Last show. So the season kicked off at St. John Bosco. The Parma Peacocks. All good things come from Parma, right? They thrashed the St. Vitus Lions 8-1. The Peacocks had an amazing defense all day long. They've really solved their infield woes from last year. They allowed a first-inning run and only 6 hits all day long. Pablo Garcia Herraz, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, a stellar day on the mound. The defending champions, Big League Chew, defeated their longtime rival catching Flamingos 13-8. Matt Liberator, a huge home run, along with newcomer Joe Kottmeyer. Tom Cranes and Jim Kottmeyer, 3 hits apiece. Chosen Ones knocked off the Holy Rosary, a new team in the league. The Holy Rosary Parish came into the league.
They're the Holy Rosary Beads.
That's it. That would be good. I've got to give them that suggestion.
Yeah, there should be the beads.
They need some
spaghetti.
They need some rosary beads because they lost 17-2. And the game shortened 5 innings. Johnny Reynolds and Stephen Newbold with home runs in that one. A 9-run 4th inning that put the mercy rule in play. Game of the day. Westside Whitecaps squeak by the St. Joe's Vikings 8-7. Tom Bruno 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Play of the day, Captain Logan Feldkamp saves the day. A defensive spark slaps the tag on Father Ian Kelly at second base.
I bet she was mad.
He was trying to catch him sleeping.
He's very competitive.
And so he just took off to second base. And they fired the ball toward Megan Boland, who was standing at second. And Logan jumped in front of her, slapped the tag on Ian in one motion. Then Ian's foot hit the bag. And I was the umpire, and I called him out. And immediately, manager Anthony Mancini comes running across the diamond to me. He goes, "What did you see there?" And I said, "I saw Logan tag him, and then his foot hit the bag." He went, "Oh, okay." He turned around, walked back to dugout. So that was a great game, 8-7. Really good win for the Westside Whitecaps over the St. Joe's Vikings. The nightcap, the Ite Mighty Doves got past the Blue Scapulars, 14-10. Andrew Kukla, 3 RBIs and a homer. Gabby McGuire back in action. Gabby actually had this is really rough. She played in a summer league that was not our league, and she took a line drive off the face.
Oh.
And was really, really hurt, out of concussion, all those kinds of things. So she is fully recovered, which is great. And she pitched Gem yesterday, and she also got 3 hits in the ball game, so good for her. Dave Smith with 2 RBIs as well. Next week, we'll transition the softball update into sort of like little YouTube videos for the week. So we'll do something sort of, live to tape, so to speak.
Nice.
Cool. Grab people off the field and do
some
a little interview
reels.
with them. Yeah,
you're gonna reel them in.
Do some little reels for the softball update. That'll be good.
Keep it real.
Out at St. John Bosco in Parma Heights.
St. John Bosco, I'll be there on Sunday morning. They got a little 5K going on.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
In the Metro Park?
What time is that?
Maybe 8:30 a.m. or so.
I'll be there on July 19th for the 4 p.m. Mass,
Yeah.
and then pilgrimage down to Incarnate Word.
For the
Tom Evanchuk's going to play. Knights of Columbus going to grill out.
Do you think
Bring
that
your
should be
family,
our
bring your
church?
friends.
Do you guys already do that before?
I mean, we've done them all, I think.
Well, you've had 187.
87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the church being you? The church is you.
What? I mean, I understand.
Body of
what you
Christ, the people.
That's
We
right.
are.
Animated by the
People
power
of
of the Holy
God,
Spirit.
sure.
Speaking of the Holy Spirit,
What?
Pentecost.
Oh,
yeah.
nice segue.
Good job. So from the Acts of the Apostles, our first reading, let me do this one. Now there were devout Jews from every nation under heaven staying in Jerusalem. At this sound they gathered in a large crowd, but they were confused because each one heard them speaking in his own language. They were astounded, and in amazement they asked, "Are not all these people who are speaking Galileans? How does each of us hear them in his native language?" Won't go through all the various
So the funny thing about that
places.
list,
Yeah.
every time I've had Mass a couple of times occasionally at the Guardian Stadium. They do a Sunday morning Mass for staff and whomever. Tom Hamilton oftentimes reads, and last year was this reading, I think, as well. Is it always this reading? One and two.
So.
It was something. It was like the Edomites and all those things. But I remember a couple years ago, he was like reading, and he's like, there were Parthians and Medes, and he goes, and people from a number of other places. And he just continued on. And so I went up to him last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I'm like, hey, Tom, I'm like, what do you do when you get like a real hard name? You know, like he's like, well, I read the media guide. You know, like
they give you a phonetics.
Yeah, like who's a hard baseball name? Let's go back in the annals.
Garcia Parra.
Yeah, Noma Garcia Parra, Andres Galarraga,
Paul Zuvela.
Wow, Troy Tulowitzki. That's a fun name.
One of the best was the Yankee PA announcer, the great Bob Shepard, for many years. You know, he had that now batting number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2. So he comes into the locker room one day, and Paul Zuvela, a little-known infielder for the Yankees, is standing in his locker, and Mr. Shepard comes over and taps him on the shoulder and goes, is it Zuvela or Zuvela? And he goes, Zuvela. He goes, thank you.
Yeah.
And he just turns around and walks away. And Zuvela just goes, who the heck was that? And we said, that was God. And he goes,
Vox
what?
Dei.
He was like, what? And I said, you'll understand after your first at bat.
Yeah.
And he goes,
but I told Tom,
right.
I'm like, so go to the media guide before Mass and check out all those places. And all those places matter because there's people coming in and going out and the Spirit's working and it's not, not contained just to their language.
I thought of some really
or their
difficult
place.
baseball player names.
Yeah.
Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
And Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth.
Pete
Like
Rose.
you could really get those confused.
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah. So, Pentecost, what I like doing the typology business, and if you remember, back in Genesis, when humankind got so arrogant, they thought they would just build this tower up to God and become God themselves. There's actually a really good short story called The Tower in the latest issue of Dappled Things, which brought this to mind. And then, in order to punish them, God gave them all different languages. So now at Pentecost, there is a redemption of that Babel moment where the apostles are given the gift of tongues so that they can go out and take the gospel to all the corners of the earth in all different languages. So I like making that connection. I think it's cool.
Very nice.
And they do that. And we're here because of it.
See.
Yeah.
Indeed. Gave the apostles the courage to go out in the first place when the Holy Spirit comes and descends on them as well.
Tak.
That's yes and
Russian.
and Dak is in Polish.
Yes.
And da, dak, tak. See,
We,
Ja
Oui.
in German.
ja,
da.
man.
The linguist among us.
Yeah, this is the gospel going out. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. And
I
everyone
say yes, my Lord.
and everyone heard it in all of their
I
languages.
say
Yeah, all of our-
yes, my Lord.
All of our bilingual
Si, senor.
things.
Exactly. Well,
Guys.
it's been real.
It's been
real.
fun. It's
Yeah.
been real. It's been real. It's been fun, but I wouldn't say it's been real fun. No, I always enjoy coming on the old pod.
You do.
You know,
Well,
that's why
I
we
mean,
ask you back.
It's not like we're not going to be around, so we'll see you around at some
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
And we might show up in some kind of form like this again at some point. You know, you
Yeah,
never know.
stay tuned.
You never know.
We can do the Ryan Seacrest. They
Yeah.
give them the-
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
No, that's
You're just
like-
going through the musical lexicon today, aren't you?
Well, I got my hair cut.
No, that's true. That automatically just
Yeah,
equates to
Yeah.
musical? Okay, good to know.
it activates.
I don't
that
have
part of
that
my
problem.
brain.
So,
Isn't that Holy Spirit activate? Wasn't that a thing?
See,
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Tuck.
Father Damien, I remember when we first got together and we met in your office and you asked us to come up with some creative ideas. I said, we should do a podcast. And you just looked at me and you went, yes, please.
yeah. And I thought you were going to do it, and then you said you do it with me, and so it's been fun. It's been a good
It
run.
has been fun.
It's been a good run.
Good 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So, hope that you've enjoyed listening to us here in Question of Faith. We've certainly enjoyed producing this podcast, and we'll be around. We won't go anywhere. So we might even drop in a little, maybe program note when I'm able to say what I'm doing here. So I'm not leaving the diocese. I could say that much. I'll still be working at the diocese.
Yeah, you're a deacon. You're doing your thing.
Yeah, that's right. Also that, and I'll still be at St. Chris.
Yeah.
I'll still be at St. Chris. as the deacon at St. Chris. So you can catch me there. You can catch me, and I'll be podcasting homilies at least going forward. So you can.
Do you know that a group of dolphins is called a pod?
I did know that.
And a group of ravens is called a cast. So when the dolphins play the ravens, you're watching
a podcast.
A pod coming up against a cast.
What do you call a group of peacocks?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Should we ask?
We should ask. Go ahead.
Next time on Question of Faith. Just kidding.
What do
This
you
is the
call
last
a group
one.
of peacocks.
Loading.
I found 3.
Oh.
Muster, ostentation, and pride.
A pride.
Pride.
Peacocks. That sounds
No, I like the word muster. A muster of peacocks.
Yeah, I'm going to go get some mustard and ketchup. Unless I get hit by a car.
This is just delaying the inevitable
All right,
now.
we'll see you later. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good night.
It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
It's see you later.
Goodbye, podcast.